Okay, so this is part two as we continue to take a look at the Marvel exhibit at the Framklin Institute of Art. The picture you should be looking at right now should be the Peter Parker display. Basically, a quick rundown of what you're seeing in this display is just giving you a couple shots of some earlier issues of Peter Parker's romantic life. Some of the pictures feature Gwen Stacy and the redheaded Mary Jane Watson. It's always a debate amongst fans on who is the true love of Peter's life. I tend to think that both women have a profound effect on Peter. Gwen Stacy was always more of the girl next door, while Mary Jane was kind of like the supermodel that Peter Parker had like a deep crush on. So both of them have kind of like a deep profound, but in the end, Peter does marry Mary Jane Watson. So I guess that does give her a little bit of an edge. And all you comic gurus already know what happens to Gwen. Let's just say things don't work out so well for Gwen Stacy. In this picture, we should be looking at two of the masks from two of Spider-Man's biggest foes in comics. One is the Green Goblin mask from the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man film starring Tobey Maguire. The other should be the mask for the Vulture, who is in the Spider-Man Homecoming, which is the first Spider-Man movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just a couple fun facts. The Green Goblin, of course, was played by William Dafoe, who did an excellent job. The Vulture, of course, was played by Michael Keaton, who earlier in comic book superhero movie history, played Batman. So these props are really cool to look at. Hope you enjoyed looking at them. All right, in this shot, we're taking a look at the costumes of both Captain America, Steve Rogers, and Bucky Barnes, who is, of course, the Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier, for many comic book movie fans, is kind of like a game changer for superhero films. A lot of people even think that Captain America Winter Soldier is probably one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. It's definitely one of my top and probably favorite Marvel films in the cinematic universe. I think because this Captain America movie kind of took a very serious approach to the character. It's always hard actually doing, I think, a superhero like Captain America because it can come off really campy following a guy who wears like stars and stripes, but I thought this movie was really good and worth a watch. I mean, it has great actors in it, including Robert Redford, Samuel L. Jackson, so it's definitely worth a movie. It's like probably the best hero movie I've seen in a long time. It has a lot of action, but I think the greatest surprise about the film is that it's more like a political thriller, and I think that was a great element to this film, and these costumes look really cool. Now this display was kind of really cool to look at. This display featured all the appearances that Captain America has made with actual living presidents. And this is really cool because it kind of shows how Marvel was kind of ahead of its time, and even early on in a lot of Marvel comics, they would include real people and real famous people and real presidents. And this actually gave their comic books kind of a realistic, grounded kind of feel to it. So if you look in this panel, hopefully you can see some of the presidents that Captain America has appeared with. Even Barack Obama's there. You got Bill Clinton. You got Ronald Reagan. So he's been in comics and he's met several of our U.S. presidents, which is really cool. Of course, in this shot, we're looking at Captain America's shield, which is always cool to see. And this is a picture of the Black Widow costume in all of its detail. The Black Widow, of course, is the super spy SHIELD agent played by Scarlett Johansson. I'm sorry that this shot didn't come out as clear, but basically the costumes in this shot you're looking at are the costumes for Chris Hemsworth, who plays Thor, and it should be Hela. I think Hela's costume. But the actress escapes me right now who played Hela in the previous Thor movie. But these were really cool to look at as well. And of course, this wouldn't be a Marvel Cinematic Universe tour without getting some Iron Man. So basically, what you see is several of the Iron Man costumes from the Iron Man films. I believe the first armor is the prototype 1 armor from the original Iron Man. I think the next one should be from Iron Man 2. And I think the one on the very end is from Iron Man 3. So this was kind of really cool to see. I mean, it looks so real, all the detail that went into these. Iron Man, of course, was the movie that kind of kicked off the cinematic universe for Disney. Robert Downey Jr., of course, changed his career, reinvigorated it, and to this day is probably one of the most celebrated Marvel superheroes in film. So that's a look at the costumes. And here's a close-up shot of the original Iron Man suit. Okay, so in this shot we should be looking at the Iron Man display. Basically, this panel just gives you a kind of look at the early issues of the Invincible Iron Man comic, as well as it details the origin and just some of the development of the character of Iron Man, Tony Stark. Some of the cool facts that about Iron Man, several interviews I've seen Stan Lee talk about how when he came up with the idea for Iron Man, he kind of based him on kind of a Howard Hughes character. And for all you history buffs, you know Howard Hughes was like a record-breaking pilot and businessman and investor who kind of was important to the flight and plane industry. And another cool fact about Iron Man, of course, is that he was portrayed by Robert Downey Jr., but originally when Marvel Studios was looking to cast an actor, Tom Cruise is one of the actors they looked at. Now, Tom Cruise would have been cool, but I do think that Robert Downey's take on the character is almost autobiographical, that the tone that Robert Downey brought to the character. So pretty much the rest is history. Now Robert Downey pretty much is associated with the role of Iron Man, and he's one of the biggest superheroes today. Okay, so the final picture in this part should be a picture of the life-size Hulk statue, which I thought was really cool to look at. I did like the artwork also in the background for this. Well, it was a pretty cool display. In the next part, we're probably going to get into a lot of the costume and props for the Netflix Marvel shows, and those shows include like your Daredevil, your Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and I'll be back with part 3 to talk about that. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed this vid.